We are in the final hours of the Archvillain Encounters Death and Beyond fundraising campaign, and I'm here with a campaign update, including a closer look at the new stretch goals that you've unlocked, including 5 new physical minis. If this is the first you've heard of it, I have 3 other videos linked down below to catch you up. These are 5e and 5.5e compatible encounters in a box, similar to those boss boxes from the Epic Encounter series that my regular viewers are very familiar with. However, these boxes are for a more mature audience who likes darker themes. The campaign has done smashingly well so far, with more than 1,700 backers and about $600,000 raised as of the time I'm making this. You've also achieved 15 stretch goals, perhaps more by the time you're seeing this. You get them for free if you back for at least 2 boxes. We've got no time to waste, so let's jump into those new minis. Keep in mind that these are minis that I printed and prepared myself very quickly, so you will see imperfections. The Belltoll Revenant is an undead warrior priest and probably the most immediately commanding of the unlocked minis. In the lore, these creatures are skeletal remnants of zealous battle priests, wandering lands soaked in war and despair. They wear grim, death-themed armor with an almost funereal battlefield presence. I am assuming that Toll the Dead is on his spell list. This is the kind of mini you can drop into a game as an elite undead enforcer, a crypt guardian, or the herald of something much worse coming over the horizon. The Bodach is a wonderfully creepy little horror rooted in old Gaelic folklore, reimagined here as a grave-haunting monster steeped in dread and deathly omens. The name itself connects to the idea of an old man or ghostly figure, but Archvillain's version here pushes him into a more dark fantasy territory, with him walking around while in the stocks. This feels like the kind of creature that should appear at the edge of the woods or outside a tomb or in a corrupted, abandoned village. The Necrodar Demilich is one of those monsters whose size belies its power. Demiliches are already iconic in the lore because they take the idea of a lich and reduce it down to something even more concentrated, a remnant of deathless magical will, still dangerous long after the body is gone. Keep in mind, the standard D&D Demilich has a CR of 18. It can be a boss, it can be a very powerful summoned horror, or the final hateful soul fragment of a villain who refuses to stay dead. The Fellthought Abstract is probably the strangest and most alien of the unlocked minis. Archvillain describes it as a void-warped remnant of forbidden arcane knowledge, which is a very fun hook. It's not just an undead creature, but the remains of a mind that pursued magic too far and came back as an eldritch creature. It's perfect for wizard towers, ruined academies, forbidden libraries, or any adventure where someone took their obsession way too far. This can make for an extremely intelligent but very alien antagonist. And this is a soulbound skeleton. His name is Paul. Soulbound skeletons are created through rituals that bind tortured souls to skeletal remains. In this case, the soul of Paul. Poor Paul. They have glowing runes etched into their bones to make them stronger, tougher, and completely obedient to their creator. Unlike typical skeletons, they're intelligent enough to fight with real tactics, coordinating attacks, forming defensive lines, and using both melee and ranged weapons in battle. Whether guarding crypts or marching as shock troops in a necromancer's army, Paul brings a more disciplined, dangerous kind of undead threat to the table. Thank you, Paul. Remember, for the physical stretch goals, you'll need to be backing for at least 2 boxes. Then you'll get those extras for free. But they've unlocked more than just minis. You also get 4 collectible Soul Crown Metal coins and bonus PDFs, which I'll be talking about in a sec, plus additional graft and magic item cards for each of the boxes. You've also unlocked the Reaper's Reliquary, a physical dice box, and they're also going to be producing a Death and Beyond character sheet for your campaigns. And let me tell you about those PDF supplements. Tides of Destiny gives you a bonus adventure tied to the larger world of Death and Beyond. Your party can claim a haunted warship and set sail across the Sea of Souls. The Grafting Guide, that's grafting, not crafting, digs into one of the more distinctive mechanics from Erevan's Guide to Death and Beyond, harvesting power from the monsters that you've defeated. So this PDF gives the players and the GMs more ways to use grafts, turning those slain monsters into strange new abilities and letting characters become a little bit more monstrous themselves. I've always loved the idea of letting the players take some sort of thematic and mechanical souvenir from their biggest fights, and that's exactly what this is. And Grave Encounters is just what it sounds like. It gives you undead random encounters. When you need an encounter to liven up travel or to serve as a consequence for some questionable player decisions, this will be your resource. If you back now, the minis will be free to you, but they aren't Gamefound exclusives, which is good. They will be available later on, but you're going to have to pay separately for them after the campaign. And that brings us back to the main boxes themselves, because as cool as the stretch goals are, the heart of the campaign is still these big boss encounter boxes. As a reminder, each Archvillain Encounter box is built around a massive mega boss mini on a huge size base at 75 millimeters or 3 inches. And these are very much meant to be centerpiece style villains. The stories are all full of undead lords and cursed saints and necromantic horrors and other kind of nightmares. And because they come from a published adventure, they each have a rich thematic backstory. The booklets are 50 pages long, and the additional information will help you tie these big boss encounters into your wider narratives. So each box should give you enough content for more than just a one-shot, because bosses like this deserve at least a mini arc in your campaigns. And of course, besides the minis and the adventure book, each box also contains a map, minion tokens, and loot cards. Your party will indeed walk away with some souvenir treasure from each of these fights. These boxes give you something you can drop into an existing campaign, use as the climax of a side quest, or string together into a darker, undead-focused campaign. And these adventures are designed around multiple levels of play, so you can tailor them to where your party is in their current campaign. You can also just take one of these boxes to game night with you to use as a one-shot if you want to. The versatility here is really great. Boss fights need to be the most memorable moments in a campaign, but that means they can also be some of the hardest to prep well. You need the villain to feel important, you need the mechanics to be interesting, you need the battlefield to matter, and you need enough surrounding context that the fight feels earned rather than just random. And these boxes are trying to solve that problem by giving you ready-made villain encounters with all the surrounding pieces already thought through. And that's really useful, especially for busy GMs who still want big cinematic moments. About the campaign itself, the main thing to remember is the discount for bundling multiple boxes together. Here's the handy dandy chart from my last video showing the prices and the savings at different pledge tiers. Plus, there's bundled shipping available as well. And remember, if you are backing at that 2-box level or higher, that's where you qualify for the physical stretch goals. That means those 5 free monster miniatures, the metal soul crown coins, the Reaper's Reliquary dice box, plus the bonus cards and the PDF extras that are being added on top of the boxes you're already getting. The other question worth asking is why back now instead of waiting? You can, of course, wait until these boxes are available through regular retail channels. There's never anything wrong with that. But if you feel confident that the boxes are right for your table and you want the free stretch goals and the discounted prices, this is the time to get on board. If you want to know more about them, I have 3 other videos where we do deeper dives into the boxes, and you can see some of the actual cards, minis, and maps. And I'm also happy to answer any questions you might have. Just leave them for me down below. Also, go check out the campaign page for other great videos from other creators, including examples of the minis all painted up. I would love to paint them up for you too, but it's probably good that Archvillain got an experienced mini painter to do that, trust me. So if your table likes darker fantasy and undead villains and themes and dramatic boss fights, or just having really impressive miniatures on the table, this is the moment to take a final look. The campaign is in its final push. It ends on June 9th at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So check out the campaign page using the link in the corner or down below and look at the boxes and the pledge bundles and see which of these grim dark boxes deserves a spot on your gaming shelf. And if you do back it, let me know which bosses that you're most excited to throw at your players, because personally, I find it hard to top Sepulchre's here. But for now, please stay safe, have fun, love each other, and I'll see you next time at the Gallant Goblin.